Boy, did I just get an education. I was shocked. Absolutely shocked.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hey everybody, I'm Bill.
And I'm Elizabeth with Live Simple.
Live free. And boy, I'm still shocked.
He's so funny. Oh, I love it.
We just did a video about this clothesline behind me that I installed while she was gone.
Yep, surprised me with it.
And I had said in there that not many Americans use clotheslines, and that I was shocked when I heard Joel and Leah, my British channel that I watch, talk about that you guys in the UK use clotheslines all the time. I don't understand that.
I do.
But here's what really shocked me. I expected Americans to come in and say, yeah, we don't use them much, and Europeans to come in and say, yeah, we use them all the time. Probably 90% of the comments that we got, and we got a lot of them, probably 90% said, oh, I use my clothesline all the time, I love it. And some of you that said something like that identified yourself as British or European. Most of you didn't identify yourself at all as to where you were from, so I assume most of you were Americans. I don't understand.
Oh my goodness, hon, there is just nothing better. You ask most women, well, especially goodness, because I grew up hanging stuff on the line with my grandma, my mom. There's just very few things in life that are more wonderful than grabbing a shower and crawling in between sheets that hung out in the sunshine and the wind to dry. There's a smell, a fresh smell that is just, it's wonderful. I love hanging stuff out on the line.
Well, first of all, I don't see people using clotheslines. You drive down the street, and I just don't see clotheslines being used very often. And so that was what I based my understanding on, was that I don't know anybody that uses them, and I don't see many people using them. But I think the people that said they do use them, there were really two reasons. One was they love how it smells, which is what you just said.
Yeah.
And that's not important to me, as you know.
Right, yeah. I'm the smeller in the family.
In fact, I always tease her that she smells like a dog.
He doesn't mean that as bad as it sounds. He's talking about
a dog walks around and a dog smells everything in the environment. She walks around and she smells everything in the environment. She smells like a dog.
That is used as a verb. I smell as well as a dog does. I don't smell like, you get it, not like a dog. That's like that cake smells good. Well, no, cakes can smell good, but cakes can't smell well. Because they don't smell anything. They just, yeah.
But you know,
it's an adjective or a verb.
I don't think there's anything wrong with my smeller. Nah. I smell stuff all the time, but she smells all kinds of things that I don't have a clue. You know, I mean, I'll be in the kitchen. This happens all the time. I'm in the kitchen cooking, and
from we share cooking.
From the other room, she yells out, "Boy, that really smells good!" And I'm going, "What smells good? I don't smell anything." And I'm right on top of the stove, and she can smell it from the other room. But I can smell things if they're strong and pungent and that sort of thing. Anyway.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
My dad worked for a company that provided coffee and spices and teas for restaurants. And I used to love to give him a hug when he'd come home from work, because he smelled like clean, fresh cotton and coffee. You know, his clothes would just absorb that smell. I love when Bill's been outside working and he comes in and he smells of fresh air, and his clothes have that fresh air. So I love it. It's very distinctive.
Something that I see on TV or movies on a regular basis is if a woman loses her husband for one reason or another, either he's dead, he's killed, or he gets shipped off overseas for a while or something, but she's going to be separated from him. She'll take his t-shirt or his pajamas or something and just hold them and just smell them like that.
Yes.
I've never once seen a man do that in a movie.
When Bill had to go to Korea for a year, and I know it's not a bad smell, it's not a stink. I just know he has a distinctive smell to me. I think most women will say that about like their husband or someone they're close to that they really love. And when he went to Korea, it took me forever to just make myself go ahead and wash his pillowcase, because I could roll over and I could smell him on his coat that was there or his pillowcase. And finally, of course, you just have to wash. But it was sad to me because that smell is really evocative for bringing strong memories. And,
yeah, you say that all the time. You smell something and it brings back a memory. It doesn't happen to me at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And this whole thing is very applicable to what we're talking about here. Sheets on the line.
Yes. We are doing it for a
Everybody
reason.
says they smell so good. They just smell like sheets to me. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. And
towels.
I may be wrong, but I'm assuming most men would say the same thing. I've never heard a man say, "Oh, that smells so good." It just not.
I think most of the time men are like, does that stink too much to wear? I think it's okay. I'm teasing. He's very clean.
So that was the one thing. Most people who commented about that they use the lines and they love them, that was the one thing that they mentioned was they love the smell of fresh air drying. The other thing that was mentioned a lot was the cost of using a dryer.
Yeah.
And I think that those are probably more Europeans that said that than Americans. I don't think it's quite as bad here. I know one person in particular said that in Europe, all utilities, gasoline, natural gas, and electricity are all very expensive. And I know when we lived in Germany, we spent 3 years when I was in the Army. We spent 3 years in Würzburg.
Yeah.
Wurzburg, if you're an American.
Würzburg. Yeah, and we were on the economy. They had some housing there, so we weren't even on the post.
But I know this was in 79 to 82, so it was a long time ago. But even back then, gasoline was about 3 times as much as it was here in the States.
Yeah. So it's just it's more of an expense.
If that's really seriously an expense for you, then I can understand why you would want to save money.
I think it's a great idea.
I don't think it's that much. I mean, how do you feel about the expense here in the States for renting a dryer?
I guess it doesn't proportionally cost all that much to run the dryer.
Of course, we also have never really gone for a month using the clothesline to see how much our electricity bill drops.
I haven't had one in ages.
Right. So I don't know, but those were the two main things that people mentioned as to why they like the clothesline: the smell and the cost.
Now, some people were saying, clothes will be more wrinkled, but on the whole, honestly, an awful lot of clothing nowadays doesn't need much ironing anyway. And if the wind's blowing, I don't think they get that much more wrinkled. But it is true that there's a lot of clothes that the heat from the dryer and the tumbling tends to work to get the wrinkles out. We just don't tend to wear clothing all that often that would need ironing.
Yeah.
Not since he's been out of... with uniforms, they had to be ironed all the time.
It used to be your mother or your grandmother had to iron every piece of clothing. Not so anymore.
I can remember Mom getting the clothes out of the ones that were going to have to be ironed. We bring them in off the line, and then she'd take a 7-Up bottle that had a little cork on the end with holes in it, and she'd sprinkle them and roll them up, and then we all took turns taking them out and pressing them. We didn't have a steam iron. And we'd be ironing and ironing and ironing, Yeah, it's a different world now for me in terms of ironing.
But I totally disagree there, too. In my limited experience when we did have a clothesline a long time ago, to me, anything that got dried on the line came out very stiff and cardboard-like, and it was very uncomfortable to wear. But a lot of you said that it comes out nice and soft when it blows in the wind. So, I don't know.
Well, and I'm not going to insist, unless we lose electricity or something, I'm not going to insist that his stuff has to be out on the line. I mean, we can dry in the dryer. We have it available. It's a good dryer, but I just want to hang up whatever I can. Like I said, I'm not real fond of hanging out socks. They're tedious, but I will if I need to.
Yeah.
But I love hanging out the big things. I love it. It's a memory with my grandma on the farm too.
So that was the 90% of people who said, "Oh, I absolutely love my clothes dryer," which totally shocked me. I mean, not my clothes dryer, my clothesline.
Clothesline, yes.
Totally, completely shocked me. Did I say that enough?
Yeah, he was really surprised. I wasn't.
I was bamboozled.
Yeah, he was gobsmacked.
And then for the 10% of you or so that said negative things about hanging on the clothesline, there were also two main things. One is that it is literally illegal in many places in the states to do it.
Yeah,
Either
it's crazy.
a HOA, a homeowners association, won't allow it, or in many cases there would be an entire city or even an entire county that has an ordinance that does not allow clotheslines. Now, you Europeans would probably be shocked to hear that, but many of us Americans know that's just not the case. I mean, that's the case, that you're not allowed to put out.
There's just such an assumption. Of course, people are going to use a dryer, and they just don't think the clotheslines look as, I don't know, aesthetically pleasing or something. I love seeing clothes blowing on a line. But yeah, apparently there's a lot of places that they just won't let you do it. So I like being rural out here an awful lot.
And then the other negative thing that people said about it, in direct contrast to, oh, it smells so good, the negative thing was, when I hang stuff out there, it gets so full of pollen, it smells bad from the pollen, you get pollen all over you, I'm allergic to it, I can't do it. So now that would only be certain times a year.
Yeah, and some people just said that because they were so allergic, it was just better for them not to have the clothing outside getting allergens on it.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I mean, if for some reason you're in an environment where the air isn't real good outside, then it's not going to bring in that incredible freshness. But, you know, I love just the clean, wind-blown, fresh air.
Yeah, well, that would certainly happen today. It's very windy today.
Yep. I'm going to change the subject a teeny weeny bit here. I have just got to gush about how much I am enjoying this spring. I'm going to have to get out with the camera. I don't know how to do it without blocking traffic on the road. I'll figure it out. But just running over to get something today and come back home again in the car. It for one thing, it's just beautiful, cool breeze. But there are redbuds and dogwoods and all sorts of fruit trees blossoming everywhere. I'm absolutely eating it up. And of course, I'll have to show you my dogwood. I came back home and I came home in the dark, and the next day I had two wonderful surprises. One was I flipped up my shade in the bedroom and the dogwood was in full bloom, and the other was, coming out very carefully, looking down and then seeing my clothesline.
Yeah, she wanted me to take pictures of the dogwood every day, as it bloomed.
To let it, yeah.
I didn't get that done. It's because I was working on your clothesline.
That's okay. I'm forgiving him. But yeah, I know I probably say this an awful lot, but man, do I feel blessed living here. And our little trees seem to be doing well, little fruit trees, and it's just absolutely a beautiful, beautiful place. Every season, but especially the spring. I grew up where it was conifers, it was fir trees and pines, which I love. And in Colorado, the aspens in the fall are spectacular. They're beautiful. But the spring is a different thing. You don't have so many flowering trees. And I'm not complaining. It was gorgeous in the Rockies. But I do enjoy the springtime out here with all the trees flowering and stuff. Anyway.
Was there anything else you wanted to say about the clothesline?
Yes, I had one more thing I really wanted to say. And that is that along with all the other stuff that we've talked about, just because we really try to give ideas and encouragement for how to be more self-sufficient or how to handle the loss of electricity or some kind of thing happening that you need to have emergency setups. I love having a clothesline because I know that if I can figure out, ways to get my clothes washed up, which is going to be a matter of us making sure we have water, which we're working on things about water, but I love knowing I can just hang them out on the line. And so once again, it's just one more kind of good prepper thing that I have in my life. That I'm all set up so that I tell you what, in Colorado now, it's humid where we are now, but in Colorado I didn't have a dryer, and I had cloth diapers, and I used to hang them out in the winter, and they'd freeze, and then they'd sublimate. They would just dry after they froze. I hung out clothes all year round.
Sublimation, when something goes from a solid to a gas and it skips the liquid state.
The liquid state,
it goes
yes.
from solid ice right directly to vapor and never melts. So if you hang it up, it freezes solid, and then it dries and it never gets wet.
Yeah, it's just true. Yeah, once it freezes, then it goes straight to dry, and it's very interesting. But anyway, it's just one more thing along with my little coffee pot that I could make coffee with, or so many things that I've got. hand mixer, just things like that I can, hand mix. This is just something else that makes me feel prepared if we would lose electricity. And like I said, I'm working on a good way to like wash up clothes. But to me, washing, as long as I've got water, isn't nearly as big of an issue as having nowhere to just put them to dry. Full load. So yeah, it's one more prepper thing. So.
A couple of people asked me what kind of line I use for that. That the only thing they had ever seen used would be either cotton or nylon
Cording.
Yeah. I can't imagine using that because it would stretch so much, I would think. But anyway, this is actually a metal cable wrapped in a very heavy plastic coating. So the cable is really strong. It's not going to stretch very easily, but the plastic coating completely protects the clothing from the wire that would tend to rust if it wasn't covered with plastic.
Yeah, I think it's going to work well, and he can tighten it if it starts to sag.
Right.
One thing I've discovered is that it's not necessarily super easy to find basic old wooden clothespins anymore. They're just these little teeny ones. So I went ahead and got some hefty plastic ones. And like I said, I think they'll be stronger overall in the weather. And I even got some that are extra heavy that'll really hold things on. I'll show them to you. But somebody had mentioned I might be making a clothespin bag. And I might be making a clothespin bag because what I'm going to be using right now is I got a hanger that I got at Walmart that I can hang some skirts on later, and then I got a little lingerie bag and clipped it on there because there were no clothespin bags that I could find anywhere.
Okay, so you went to get clothespins and all you could find were these cheap little ones or plastic ones that are not what they used to be, and
Right.
You couldn't find a clothespin bag anywhere.
Not so far.
You know what that tells me? It tells me that Americans don't use clotheslines.
Well, this is an American that does, and there's lots more out lots more out there that do. Now, you just watch me. I'm going to figure out a way. I'm going to be making one. But for right now, the hanger, the substantial hanger with a good lingerie bag on it is holding my clothespins just fine. Improvise. Yep. So.
Well, so there you go. I guess it's actually kind of like, in talking about the clothesline, it's kind of like the battle of the sexes.
Oh, brother.
Because we see it very differently, and I think most men would agree with me, and I think most women would agree with you.
Yeah, I love having it, so, and I won't use it all the time.
And I thought most
Thank
Americans would agree with me too, but apparently that's not the case.
Lots of Americans are women, and grandmas. I mean, I'm a grandma,
Yeah.
Yeah. It is very difficult nowadays to find a clothespin bag, so I, until I can make one, which someone did suggest, I took a little lingerie bag, and this is a skirt hanger that I got just at Walmart, and this is working very well for me for right now. And then when I get something else, I'll come up with something else. Then I can use this for skirts, which will be great. I couldn't find big wooden clothespins, so I got these plastic ones, and they're going to be weather resistant, and they look pretty good. And then for heavy things, I got these like heavy duty clothespin clip things. I guess you could hold a potato chip bag closed with it too. But anyway, got a bunch of those. So, all right. Oh, gotta hang it this way. Here we are. Somebody was a little concerned that my cucumbers on my cow are going to start growing into my clothesline, which of course we can pull those back and watch out for that. But Bill needed to put the wood on this side of the pole because this is where the string's going to be. This is where the string's going to be. We have these triangles here, which are very strong structures, and it pulls against the pole now. If you put it on this side, then it could be pulling on the wood and pulling the nails out. So anyway, somebody's wondering how come he put it on this side, and it's just much stronger that way. So, alrighty, beautiful sunny day. Let's get some stuff up on the line here. All right. My improvised clothespin bag working really, really well. Here's my tiny house prepper shirt. I love this shirt. I still wear it all the time. All right. Well, I will keep hanging up clothes. And, you know, this seems really strong, and it's not, am I still in the picture?
Barely, yeah.
Okay. This seems really strong. Like it's metal, for one thing. It's wire. And it's not a really huge span, but if we do have enough weight on there that it gets a little saggy and we can't really tighten it up enough, Bill will get like a piece of wood with a wedge shape cut in it, like that, yeah, that he can put and just prop up the line. But so far it seems to be pretty strong. So, all right, I'm gonna keep hanging. So I think it's going to work really well.
Okay, so there you go. The great clothesline debate.
Wasn't a debate to me. I just appreciated him making it for me. And see, someone did have a clothesline there before because there's one of the bowls left.
Yeah, and it was an antique.
Well,
Right.
I'm kind of antique myself, so anyway, go ahead.
I'm not even going to go there. You said it.
Yeah, and you're about as antique as I am, so we're not going to go there.
Anyway, thanks for watching.
Live simple.
Live free. You be blessed.
Yeah. I love you guys, and you will be seeing us again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.